Do you have any idea of how many rock layers are missing from the rocks worldwide, or what percentage of rock is supposedly missing?
Okay, I'll answer that first, and Joe, you can give some experience. If you start at the Grand Canyon and you work backwards and take the alleged age from the bottom rocks, the millions and millions of years, hundreds of millions, thousands of millions in the Vishnu schist, etc., down the bottom, and go all the way up to where the tourists stand on the top, you're roughly missing 90+% of the supposed rock layers that represent the time. And this is your experience, Joe?
Yeah, and you've got to remember that the question only makes sense if you're viewing it from a geological history over millions of years, right? So if you assume that the bottom layer got there first, the top layer got there last, and you make all the assumptions from Steno all the way up to Lyell, and you assume that the rocks are formed over millions of years, you read the rock layers as a history of rocks over time, then yes, you come to the same discovery that John just mentioned. 90% of it is effectively missing, right? Or there are gaps that are enormous. In fact, there's some places where the Precambrian touches the Cenozoic, and there's like some nearly a billion years basically worth of history missing. However, if you take a step back and you go, well, hang on a minute, the idea that rock layers are missing only really fits in an idea that these rock layers form slowly over millions of years. If you interpret it, number one, as sideways deposition, and number two, the majority of these major deposits go across the world, all of a sudden you're looking at an entirely different process. You're looking at an entirely different way of how you get the rocks, and you're actually discovering that it's all about the process which actually produces the rock layers. And so the rock types and the rock layers are going to depend on the process that produces them. And so you're looking at it a completely different way. And in other words, there aren't any rock layers missing. There's exactly the rock layers that the process would have created. So you only really get this question about missing layers if you start with the evolutionary assumptions. And in fact, it's the missing layers which point out the error of the evolutionary idea of deep time.